Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to Break Free from Your Monkey Mind. This is season 4, episode 6. And here tonight is my co-host, Tony. Hello, Tony, how are you?
Hi, Leanne, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And tonight we have Jason from the Teen Anxiety Coach. Hi, Jason, how are you?
Hi, Leanne. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, good, thank you. So first of all, tonight, Jason, we're just going to ask a little bit about who you are. So if you can just tell us who you are, not what you do or why you're here, but just a little bit of background of who Jason is.
So I'm Jason. I'm a solution-focused hypnotherapist, and I'm known as a teen anxiety coach. I help all teens overcome their anxiety around any mental health they've got, and that's me.
Okay, so as we always say on every podcast, when we ask somebody about who they are, you can tell us all about what you do, but who are you? So you haven't actually told us who Jason is.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, so me, well, I'm a father of 4 boys. I'm married. I've also got 2 stepchildren. I live in East Sussex. I've lived here all my life. God, never really been asked this sort of question. I'm 46. I probably don't look 46, to be fair. Probably look older, but yeah, that's me. Yeah, and I just enjoy what I do.
So
what do you do in your spare time? What do you like to do?
God, spare time. I go watch one of my boys play football regularly. My oldest one is a quite high up qualified referee, so I go and watch him referee at local big grounds. He's quite high up in the league, so that's nice to go and watch him. God, I try and keep fit, do circuit training. Yeah, that's it really. I don't really do much. I'm just me.
You don't do much. Yeah. You're a father of how many?
6 altogether, really.
Yeah,
2.
4 and 2 kids, and you don't do much. Yeah, I must be a first to hear that then. Never hear that again.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, it actually brings us to a good point with that. It's when you said about the refereeing thing. How is that when you go and watch your son referee, when usually the 2 teams are against the referees? It must be a difficult thing to actually go and listen and watch.
No, it's quite nice actually. My son's quite well respected in the refereeing world. I remember we went down to see the under-18s Premier League, Southampton versus Chelsea, because I'm a Chelsea fan. So he said, "Come along, Dad, and obviously meet the future of Chelsea." So yeah, it's quite funny. I'm sitting there. I'm sitting in the Chelsea end with the mums and dads, and I remember there's a lady in front of me, obviously cheering on her son, and towards the end of the game, her son, she presumed her son got fouled, and he clearly didn't. But typical parent, referee, and all this lot. So yeah, she's giving it all that to him and all that. So at the end of the game, we were just chatting, and I said, "Oh, so who you here with?" And she said, "That's my son." I said, "Oh, good, be good to see him up in the first team. I'm a Chelsea fan, and all that." And she went, "Oh, who are you here supporting?" I said, "I'm here supporting the referee." And she like looked at me really shocked and was like, "Not really?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm here. My son's the ref." And she just couldn't believe it, So I'm trying to prove that my son's the ref. And as he walks off, I'm going, Josh, and all this, and he's waving back. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for what I said about the ref and all that lot." And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. That's part of what he has to put up with, isn't it? He may get decisions right, he may get decisions wrong. It's that sort of game, isn't it?" So yeah, I try and just sit back and just laugh at it, really. He can handle it. He's had lots of players obviously in his face and what they're like, So yeah, no, he's grown up very quickly in that sport. And I think that's why he's well respected, because he lets the game flow and yeah, just enjoys doing what he does as well. So
excellent. So Jason brings you here tonight. So can you tell us a little bit about why you're here tonight, please?
So you kindly invited me to come and talk about me, my experience around how I got into the hypnotherapy business. So yeah, it must have been about nearly 5 years ago, I started my journey with hypnotherapy. I had a major fear of food, trying new foods, taste, texture, anything you can think of around food. It was just awful. I'd have panic attacks. I couldn't go to restaurants if I didn't know what was going to be on the menu, in case there was something there I didn't like, or something I couldn't eat. So yeah, it was quite intrusive in my life in the end. And my wife and I split up, and I thought, God, I've got to go back on the dating scene. I need to get over this fear, because I can't go to a restaurant with a potential new partner and look really stupid having these breakdowns about trying new food. So yeah, I found a hypnotherapist. I will say my wife and I are back together, and I'll say that now. Yeah, no, I found a hypnotherapist who I really clicked with straight away.
Can we just jump back a little bit? So you got this fear of, we had this fear of eating out in public, trying new foods, textures and everything. Did you actually have anything happen to you? I mean, how long have you suffered with the condition, and did anything trigger it? Can you think back to maybe you got food poisoning, or there was an incident when you was out?
No, with kind of like the therapy I do, we never go back to see if there's any triggers or anything like that. So I've clearly tried, to think about that and myself just to get an answer, but it's I can't think of anything. I remember as a child, probably up to about the age of 5 and 6, eating everything my mum put in front of me, absolutely everything. Just one day I just woke up and kind of that was it. But I have since heard though that I don't know how true this is, because I haven't researched this at all, but I've heard that every 6 years our taste buds change. But I don't know how true that is. So, like I say, I've not really looked into that. So I'm thinking, if I'm thinking it's kind of like about 6 that I had that feeling of, change, then, that could possibly, been the 7-year change in me. So, but yeah, like I say, I can't think of anything. I don't remember anything or recall anything. For as long as I can remember back then, I did eat everything that my mum put in front of me.
Did your parents ever take you to a doctor with that to see if there was a reason for it, as far as they were concerned?
Again, I don't really recall that, to be honest. But I think probably at the time I was probably just known as a fussy eater.
So was you fussy eater at home as well, just when you were out in public?
No, anyway.
So all the time, just generally, whatever you ate, So how was you emotionally, especially if you were out and you were having to try new things?
I wouldn't put myself in that situation towards the end. Well, once I realised that it was going to be an issue, I wouldn't like going to restaurants. Like I say, unless I knew what was on the menu and there was something there I could eat comfortably. Yeah.
So it wasn't so much that you couldn't eat in public; it's just the changing of food or the changing of the meals you didn't like.
Yeah, I still wasn't great in public, because even if, just say for argument's sake, it was a pizza, but it was a pizza I knew that I'd liked, even if that was cooked differently or tasted differently to what I thought it would be, I would still have that, oh my God, what can I do? I can't spit it out because that's rude. I'm now going to be sick because I can't spit it out. What do I do? So that's kind of how it worked. So I had to, like I say, I had to make sure that there was something there that I knew I was going to like, before I'd even stepped in the restaurant.
And did you ever, when you were out and you tried something, did you ever have that reaction where you was physically sick?
No, because I always made sure that there was something there that I knew I would like. If not, I would make sure there was loads of tomato sauce. I could just dip it in and eat it. So, yeah.
The tomato sauce, all varieties you're okay with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's fine. But now I'm not really a fan of tomato sauce.
So how did that obviously transpire into your journey as to where you are now? Because you you've had this eating condition since you were a small child. What got you onto the journey of having hypnotherapy to help you? Where did you find that? Who sort of suggested it for you?
No one really suggested it, to be fair. I just I think I just must have Googled sort of like help with fear of food or something along those lines. And I can't think of the website. So there's a website come up, and I remember putting in my details. And then I think it was the next day, the hypnotherapist had emailed back.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, I can help you with that. This is what I do. Basically, you're interested. And I was like, I might as well. I've got nothing to lose. So yeah, just made contact back, and I think it was that week I went to see him for the initial consultation, where he just explained everything. Obviously, what he just got me to a T. How I was thinking, feeling. What he could do to support me to get me over this fear, phobia, or whatever you want to call it, really.
So fear, phobia, did you feel it was a fear or more of a phobia to you? Because a fear, sort of like the flight or fright, I'm really putting the questions on you now, Jason.
That's all right.
The flight or fright, as in like, you're in the restaurant, I've got to run, I've got to get out of here. Or was it more the phobia side of things, as in I'm not putting that in my mouth, that's not coming near me?
The reason why I laughed at the beginning of that, because I just thought I was weird. I didn't think it was anything else. But I suppose, Leanne, it was it's kind of a mixture of both, really. It was that I just want to get out of here because I know that I'm going to have that panic attack, that anxiety attack. And I don't want anyone to see that. That's not nice for anyone to see. So I suppose in a way, it was a mixture of both, really, a fear and a phobia. The fact that I just wanted to get out of there and run away, but also I still feared putting something new to eat in my mouth.
Yeah, and you never had any sort of digestive issues, sorry, Tony, any digestive issues like IBS or Crohn's or colitis or anything like that, where that would have irritated anything, any sort of chemical reaction? No?
No.
Sorry, Tony.
No, I was going to say, but you've talked about the impact then. It could be the panic attacks or restricted what choices you could have for food. But what other impacts then did it have on your life to be that way?
God. So during my 20s, I was an athlete, quite a high level athlete as well, and that impacted heavily on my training because I just weren't putting the right food in my body to train. I was kind of living off burgers, pizzas, all kind of like the rubbish food, really, because that was just my safe food to eat. So it impacted quite a lot on that. But I don't know, you just get used to it. So you kind of just build your life around it so it doesn't impact it that much. But out of everything, that's probably the biggest thing it did impact, Tony, was the fact that I was training heavily, but I just weren't putting the right fuel in my body, basically.
What about your social life with friends and that? Because kids, youngsters, teenagers sort of say, oh, rather than going for a burger, should we go for a pizza? Or, do you want a hot dog off the hot dog stand if you're at a football match or something like that? I've never been to a football match, by the way, so I wouldn't know they do hot dogs on the hot dog stands. But so how would that have affected your social side of things? Would you have felt like, I'm not going because I know the outcome is going to be I've got to eat something because everybody else is?
No, because I think in the end, sort of like my friends, close friends and family knew what I was like. So it kind of didn't really impact that much. If we went to a restaurant, if I didn't want to eat, I just wouldn't eat. I wouldn't order anything, and they're fine eating. Doesn't bother me. So it kind of didn't really impact that much, to be honest. Because like I say, I think
what about traveling? Because as teenagers, I know a lot, gone abroad, traveling a lot. How did you manage to cope with that?
Yeah, again, I laugh at that because I remember going to Tunisia, and that was hard. I think the whole week I just lived off chips in the end.
I was going to say, because I've been a couple of Tunisia. I don't remember many burger places in Tunisia. I can't remember many pizza places in Tunisia either, to be honest.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think it was chips and salad, I think I survived on. Yeah.
Did you ever hide your food so you didn't have to eat it? You'd never hide it, like cover it up with a napkin and sort of pretend you've eaten it, and so that they take it away from you?
No, a couple of times I've kind of sort of like put half on another plate.
Yeah.
Just so I didn't feel guilty there.
Yeah.
I didn't eat. But yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I've never like hidden any of the fact that I had my fear and that was it. So.
Yeah, so you say they feel guilty. So did you feel like you was letting yourself down, or the people that are obviously trying to feed you down?
Yeah, it's more the people that were put the food on the plate really.
Yeah.
Because as you know, human beings do, they want to try and help you out and support you. Sometimes they do it in a good way, which they think is a good way. Sometimes it's a wrong way. So for me, it was kind of like, look, they've tried to help me. Just have it on your plate for a bit.
Yeah.
I'd mess it up a bit so it looks like it's been touched.
Yeah.
And a serious note with that is that obviously you being a parent then, 6 kids there, what if you had one of them that was the way you were now, they had it the way you are? How would you deal with it differently now, knowing what you know?
To be fair, I am quite lucky with my boys. One of them is a little bit like me, but he will try something if he's in the right mood. If he's in the wrong mood, then yeah, exactly the same as me. I'm not trying it, and that's it. So yeah, I have been quite really lucky with the boys that none of them have really seen that fear and phobia, and it's got hold of them as well. So, but I think if one of them did have it, that's interesting. No one's ever asked me that.
The reason I'm saying it is because I know, like you said, we'll come in a minute, that the type of work that you do doesn't look at the past. You look forward to people. But if someone's going through that at this moment in time, and it was someone it's difficult to say, well, I'm not going to look at the past. We need to deal with them how it is now. But how can they identify with a child? What I was trying to get is, was there signs you could have told? Because if it's a parent listening to this, and you've got a young child, and you've been a perfect thing earlier, Jason, you said, I was just known as a fuss eater. How many is know people who say that about their children? I know one who came to me because the boy would only eat one thing, baked beans.
Yeah.
He wouldn't eat anything else. He'd only eat baked beans. And she knows, been told daughters, he can't keep this up. She tried other things, and what she didn't realise at the time was it was making him sick within there. He wasn't making himself sick like they thought. The things he was eating was making him sick. And it turned out he had a medical problem that wasn't psychosomatic the way they thought. So if you've got someone listening to this and the way you were when you were younger, if you could see it in your child, what were the signs that you would have noticed? Do you think he's not just a fuss eater?
I don't know, really. Like I say, for me, it was you would see that anxiety in them, because there is a difference. You touched on there being obviously a medical side, where something is physically making them sick. That's not to do with the anxiety and the fear or anything. But I think if one of my boys did generally have it, I would notice through the way they are acting, that fear response that they comes across, and that's what you have to bring down. You have to tackle that fear bit. And for me, even if I weren't doing what I was doing, I would try and reassure them that it's fine. You can still try it if you want to. If you need to spit it out and get rid of it, just spit it out and get rid of it. Because I think that was a lot of my issue. The fact that if I tried something, I felt embarrassed that I was going to spit it out. I think that's one of the major things, for me. So, like I say, if that's the fear in someone now, obviously just reassure them that it's fine just to spit it out and get rid of it. I remember my hypnotherapist saying, he's not going to make me eat everything in the world and like everything in the world, because as human beings, we're never going to do that. So he said, there's going to be things that you try now that you still don't like.
That's why they invented napkins.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's probably the one advice I would give to any parent that feels that their child is in the same boat, is just reassure them that it's fine to spit it out, it's fine to get rid of it, it's fine to not like that food, as long as they're happy in trying it, and feel comfortable that they can try it and get rid of it. If they don't like it, then that's half the battle won, isn't it, really, for them?
Is there a medical term for this?
I was talking about it the other day. I think it's called AFED, AFFED. I can't think what it stands for now, but yeah, that's the medical term for it.
So one of the things, first of all, even though the parents can reassure the child, it would be good just to get them checked out in the first place, just in case there is any medical reason for it. So
Definitely.
if somebody is listening, they've got a child that maybe it sounds like they might just be a fussier, might not be a big deal. But first of all, get them checked just to make sure there's nothing untoward there. And then if it is this, there'll be things online, or there'll be things they can get help from there. But that's great with that side, but it gradually leads on then to something that you've mentioned there about the food problem. Part of it is the anxiety or the fear that the child has about not wanting to spit it out, or being embarrassed and having to do it in front of other people, but also embarrassing maybe your parents or that if they're out with them. But that just comes to a nice thing, because people can see what if you're everybody watching the video with us, if you're watching YouTube, you can see on Jason's thing, it says the teen anxiety coach. So how did you get into that side then, from where you were at in your journey?
So, after I completed my journey with my hypnotherapist, and I can eat and try many foods now. I decided that I wanted to actually pursue my career as a counsellor. That's the route I wanted to go down. And my hypnotherapist kept saying, no, come and be a hypnotherapist. And I really enjoyed what he did, but I just thought, no, it's not for me. I just don't think it is. So I did my level 1 in counselling, went to go and do my level 2, and it's fully booked, the course. So at the time, my therapist's wife, who's also a hypnotherapist, she was helping support one of my sons through anxiety. And we just got chatting when I picked him up one day, and she really sold it to me of what I could really do with this. And I thought, do you know what? Okay, yeah, I'm going to give it a go. So I contacted my therapist, and both him and his wife become my tutors. And I qualified 2 years ago now, and I've loved my journey ever since. But the whole reason why I became the teen anxiety coach is because probably over the last 6 to 8 months, I've just seen so many teenagers come to me with different types, parts of anxiety for them. A lot of school avoiders that are just really struggling with anxiety getting into school. So I thought, do you know what? I'm gonna niche it and really, point towards helping teens with their anxiety. It's just great. I love it. The amount of teenagers that have gone back to school, and virtually full time from going a couple of hours a day. It's just amazing. And funny enough, the amount of teenagers I'm seeing with the same fear as me, which is quite interesting, because I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one on the planet like it, but I'm not. It's great.
And that is the good thing you said, is then that you, being a teen anxiety coach, understanding is a really difficult thing for a lot of therapists and that to do with their clients or patients. But having an empathy with them is something, but you've got a bit of both, because you can empathize with them, but you can also may not understand their condition side because you're not in their shoes, but you can understand what it was like for you. So probably some of the things that you will have known, they'll be like that. That's great, because nobody realizes that, but you understand that. So that's a great thing to have, that the bridge that you can already have there with them. A lot of people would say, there's a sort of gap there with an ordinary therapist, a person who doesn't specialize in it. But one thing you've said that it really helped me is, I normally deal a lot with students and university students, But we were just talking before we come on. I'm actually getting younger and younger ones brought to me now who are in high school for the same things you're talking about. Anxiety. Parents think it's all around. They always blame it on exams. It's the exam stress, but then the exam stress is only there because of whatever else is caused it in the first place. So it leads up to that. But how do the clients then get to you? So if we've got parents that have got children who have got some issues like this at high school, so do you work both online and face-to-face, or do you do one or the other?
No, I do both online and face-to-face. I've seen quite a few clients all over this country, and I've seen a few clients in the US. I've had a couple from Canada. So yeah, it's what I do, probably the same as you. If you work online as well, it's exactly the same process, exactly the same outcomes. Nothing's different. As long as someone can go, obviously, into the relaxation state, which everyone can, we're fine.
So with the teen anxiety, I know you've got your other hypnotherapy business as well. Do you find the teen anxiety side of thing busier because there is more children that are suffering with the anxieties, and by getting them at the younger age, it helps obviously back into adulthood?
Yeah, definitely. Because like I say, what I do and practice is obviously solution focused hypnotherapy. So I'm giving them the tools to live the rest of their life the way they want to live. I still do certain things from when I saw my hypnotherapist. 4.5 years ago, I finished with him. I still do things regularly that he taught me. I found myself the other day just laughing at a dog driving past me in a car, and then I've realised, oh my God, I'm practicing one of the 3 Ps that I talk to my clients about. Where has that come from? So yeah, so it's once they leave me, it's not sort of like you're on your own. You've still got the tools, you've still got everything in there in place that you can still go and handle anything life throws at you.
Okay, so if people were, say, where Tony's in Scotland or where I am in Essex, how would people know about you from those areas?
So a lot of my advertisement and all that, a lot at the moment is obviously Facebook and Instagram, and word of mouth. Like I say, I don't know how, but I'm quite popular down in the Dorset area. Don't know how I've even got down there, but I've got down there somehow. And I've got quite a lot of clients down there, which is nice. But yeah, not one of them can actually say, apart from I saw you on Facebook.
Okay. So what is your Facebook and website address and that we can obviously know about?
Yeah, just obviously Google the Teen Anxiety Coach on any platform. That's Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, website is teenanxietycoach.co.uk. Have a look. If anyone's got any questions, fire away. I'm always there to answer them.
There is one question. Yeah, sorry, Tony. There is one question. Jumping in again. Is it just referrals from parents, or can the teens come to you direct?
So teens can, but I'm very quick to fire it back and say, great, you've reached out, really appreciate it, but a parent has to come and talk to me as well. You've got to deal with the parents as well, especially obviously if they're under 18. If they're over 18, that's fine. But yeah, under 18, I just fire it back and and say, look, great, but let's get a parent involved as well, and communication goes through parents.
Excellent.
I'm just going to say about because obviously a lot of teens come, you said, and some where you had problems you had before. What are the common trends you've noticed that teenagers are coming with? Because although there's anxiety covers such a vast field. So what are the common trends that teenagers are coming to you for?
The biggest one, obviously, I'm seeing at the moment is school avoidance.
Mm-hmm.
The anxiety around school avoidance is just huge, what I'm seeing. I would say that's the biggest anxiety thing at the moment. But it's the pressures that teenagers live with now is immense. I was speaking to another colleague about this the other day. When we were teenagers, there wasn't social media. There wasn't mobile phones. If you were being bullied in any way, you could go home and shut the door. Nowadays you can't. It's there. It's in their face constantly. So yeah, it's definitely, for me, it's school avoidance is the biggest anxiety at the moment for many teenagers I'm seeing. One of the things that I do is called a miracle question, and it's kind of a doing thing that they can do in between sessions. Excuse me. And I would say probably 90% of teenagers throughout their journey with me will say, I want to come off social media. So we talk about that, and most of the times it's like, I'm going to come off it for 2 hours a day. And the difference you see in the next week is, again, it's just amazing, because they've not got that pressure of social media, of trying to live up to something that they think they should.
And I think there is a big difference, and there's a big thing about that. When I go abroad, I always say, right, not using any data roaming and all that. So I can't use any social media. The only thing I can use on my phone is take pictures. And that gives me a whole break from Facebook and everything else, because in my head, I'm saying, I'm not going to pay the charges. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Obviously, there's Wi-Fi, but in my head, that doesn't exist. I'm on holiday. I'm checking out, and I don't even put the TV on when I'm abroad. Now, when I was a kid and we'd go abroad, my dad would always put Sky News on and watch it all the time. And I used to think, come on holiday, to get away from everything, and you're watching all the doom and gloom of what's going on around the world. So, for me, it's like checking out. You're on holiday, you're checking out. So I think it's a great idea for teenagers or children of all age to have that break from technology for a few hours, and find, like, your children, play football, find something that's outdoorsy or a passion that they want to do, get into reading, anything that takes them away from the thing that's always in their hand. We're all guilty of it. We've all got it with us all the time. But if we can try and get as many children to take that break, that let's have, an hour, ban phones from the dinner table.
Yep.
How many children do you see when you go, both of you, when you go out for meals and the parents stick a phone in front of the kid? I've only done it ever a couple of times. And I sat there and I felt guilty. I felt guilty that he was being taken away from what's going on around him, and he was being focused purely on that screen. So now all we do, we take a packet of colouring pens or pencils with us, always got a packet in my handbag. And I always say to the waitresses, have you got something that you can scribble on? And even if they've got nothing for children, they'll bring out a piece of paper or an old scrap of an envelope or something. And he's quite happy sitting there. So yeah, I'm totally with you there, Jason. That whole break from social media is a definite.
I do definitely feel for this generation of teens, because they're living in a world that previous generations, they literally know nothing about.
No.
Previous generations before kind of knew what the last generation kind of did and could support. This is all we can do to support them, because we've not lived how they've lived. The technology age for them is immense, is massive. So the anxiety around just that alone is huge. So when parents are not going, we used to be teenagers, we know what you're going through. Fair enough, we used to be teenagers. We don't know what they're going through.
Not that impact, not that massive impact.
No, exactly.
And I think there is an issue, because I do some similarly where Jason does with the students, and there's a certain cut off at night. They're not allowed the phones, because they're studying. I get them study things to do, so there's a strategy I use with them, and they have to do that. But when I'm saying, why don't I do it during the day? Why don't you take it off during the day or put it away when I'm at uni? Well, two reasons. One, are you going to honestly do it when your pals are around you? No. Secondly, that you've got that choice during the day to do whatever you want. Because you remember, social media gets such a bad reputation for a lot of things, but actually it also opens the world up that we never had. We never had the amount of knowledge that kids have got now. We never knew enough about the world that kids know now. kids will tell things about other countries in the world and at primary school that we never even heard of, and maybe to 20s, 30s, or 40s before we heard about it, and they can. And it's getting the balance with it. But do you know one of the saddest things is when a kid tells you that I get told to take my phone off me because they're not supposed to be on it because it's bad or whatever, and they sit and look at their parents who are sitting on their mobile phones. How many times do you see couples go in a restaurant and you see them sitting on their phone and they're sitting across each other on a table, but they're sitting with the mobile phones?
Yeah.
Or they're sitting in the meal thing and they'll answer something, or I'm just going to get that text, and they go and get that, and they don't really bother. And it came to me because I think I've said this to you, Leanne, before, about a young kid at school and really stressed out with everything like that. And they were saying, well, what does your mum do? What does your dad do? So maybe they could be there. Oh, my dad works away a lot, so he can't be around. What does your mum do? She's a typist. She went, oh, you mean she's a secretary? And she went, I don't know, but she's a typist. And they went, well, is it a big office they work in? Or does she work from home? Because maybe she could be there with him. They went, oh no, she's always home. And she went, well, is it a big, do you know if it's a big business that was lots of people? And she went, oh no, she doesn't do anything like that. But you said she was a typist. She went, yeah, every time I walk in the house, she's on the phone going, so she must be a typist. And it was funny, but it was actually hurtful. The teacher had told me about this, saying, how sad is that a kid's description of their parent is a typist, because they don't know what else to call it because they're typing. But it's not because they've got a job. It's because I walk in the house and they're all excited to tell me there's something that happened that day at school. And the parent's going, hold a minute, just to do this, just got to do this text, or I've just got to answer this. And then we expect them saying, right, you've got to be okay with social media and you can only go on at a certain time. Well, we're still holding ours, but we take it off of them. How contradictory can that be for a kid? And that anxiety can build up with that as well. As why am I not allowed on it, but you're allowed on it? Why is it bad for me and it's not for you? So yeah, it's a great idea, but I've had to learn to say to some of the parents, I'm going to ask you to do this, but you'll have to do the same thing. Because if you don't, it's conflicting with what I'm telling them is they need to get that time away from it. And you're sitting on it at night when you should be spending time with your family. So it is a brilliant idea, but we need to get the balance between the two, because it is such an amazing thing for education for kids now. Because you think at school, what did you have at school to you have to study for the things that are? You would have a calculator. I mean, if you remember as old as me, you have a wee ruler that used to do it with you calculate before you had the calculator to work things on a ruler. And I remember all these things. I never had a chance to look up and find all answers off different perspectives around the world, or things that I can use to be that articulate. So we want kids to be it, but let them grow up in their world, but as long as we make sure they're protected. And that's the bit that comes into it. We need to make sure of that. But I think it's brilliant what you're doing. And I think for anybody that is here who's got kids, who've got that scenario at the moment, they are struggling, or they're anxious, or they are avoiding going to school, or it may be because they'll tell you it's exams coming up or something like that. They've not done well at exams, the next one. Can you give one strategy, Jason, that a parent could use now until they can maybe see somebody like you? But if the kids are anxious about going to school or about exams, just one thing that they could try.
So I think the biggest thing is just talk to your child. It really is. It's that simple. Just talk to them and listen to them. You know, they just want to be heard. You know, they don't want to be told different things, you know, like you say, oh, it's exam stress, you know. But the parent doesn't know, they're presuming, you know, that's like them coming to me and me going, oh, no, it's exam stress. You know, it's not, you know, they just listen to your child. Listen. That's all I can say, because that will go miles, because they will feel someone is actually listening and caring. That's probably the one bit of advice I will give parents.
Good.
Excellent.
All right, that's all for us for the night. Unless you have anything else to add, Leanne?
No, I'm good, thank you. And it's been brilliant, Jason, and it's been very interesting to know about your journey and how you've got to become the teen anxiety coach. And I'm very pleased that you've managed to now overcome your condition, and you're now helping other people that also suffer with it. So that's brilliant. Well done. Yeah,
thank you both of you for inviting me onto it as well.
And we'll make sure we put in the comments as well. Your teen anxiety coaches know how to find you, so people can get you from there if they want to do it as well. That's brilliant. So thank you, Jason Graham. Thank you to Leanne, especially everybody might have noticed we are little sniffles and they're up with her head all blocked up. She's got women flu, but don't worry about it. She's going to be fine. Right, so she's just got that. Right, so for next week, Leanne's going to be very good, aren't you? It'll be perfect by next week. All right, great. Look at this, putting it on again. Look at the act. Right, so we'll see everybody next week again. So thank you very much for joining us. Take care of yourselves and take care of your families as well. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Jane.